scissors. My favorite artifact, the one that jumps out at me, was the spine of Saracen from season 1. They put it on my back and they were like, okay, it was the first time in my career that I had an opportunity to express myself in, so I was going to die. I was basically sacrificing my life for my friends. And there is a thing, one of the things I love about acting is it's literally a therapy session. Every moment of it is a therapy session. Every moment of it I get to express things that I may not, as the character, that I may not actually be able to express as myself. So this was an opportunity for me to really release a lot of pain, anger, self-doubt, pride. I mean, there was a lot of pride. It was a huge burst of emotion there, if you remember it. And when I got done with it, it was just like taking a huge psychic poop. Wow, I went there. I went right to poop, didn't I? Yeah, and then McClintock starts talking about poop.
Again.
Can't wait to see that again. Oh, that's right. That's the upper decker. You spoiled it. So, for me, that's the one, because then when I got done with that scene, and because it's kind of like playing drunk. If someone's playing drunk and they're not good at it, it's embarrassing. As a viewer, you just go, oh my God, you're terrible at that. I don't believe you. I think you're lying. And the last thing I want to do is lie to the people that are watching, especially sci-fi viewers. They tend to be more sophisticated than other viewing audiences, I think. And so I feel like I was truthful in that moment. Like that was as truthful as I was going to get. And so that's the one that sticks out for me, because I was pretty proud of that. Yes?
Eddie, I've got some water here for you if you'd like.
Scotch?
This water. Scotch will be after.
Okay.
You're done your
Thanks.
Thank you. Sure.
Wait, you know what, man? Before I come over that way, I saw you earlier, so I'm going to come to you real quick.
Yeah, there's in the front row on the right, this gentleman has had a question since the beginning, so it seems to be burning in his mind.
I don't care about him.
I tried.
Hello. What's your name?
Kalina.
Hi, Kalina. What's your question?
How is it working with David Boreanaz on Bones?
Sure.
I can get a picture.
I'm in this one too.
The question was, what was it like to work on Bones with David Boreanaz? Well, let me tell you. For a long time, I was going to write a book called Living in the Shadow of Boreanaz. Because as a struggling actor in LA, people tend to be very associative. So they were just like, Are you David? And I was like, no. And then everybody was asking me, I was David Boreanaz, I looked like David Boreanaz. I got a free pizza because they thought I was David. I signed the pizza box. Hey, good luck, kid. David. I said no anchovies. What's your problem? But before David Boreanaz came on the scene, there was an actor by the name of Craig Sheffer, who he did a movie called Nightbreed, which was Clive Barker. He also did a movie called A River Runs Through It with Brad Pitt. And my sister saw A River Runs Through It, and she called me and she was like, there's this guy, he looks exactly like you, I can't get over it. And so then I saw it and I was like, oh my God, he had the same kind of Precambrian brow, you know, kind of that Australopithecus looking, pre-evolved man brow, and so one time I was in an audition and some guy came walking up to me and he's like, "Hey chef, what do you?" "Oh man, I'm sorry, I thought you were Craig Sheffer." I was like, "No, I'm not, but you know, it's funny because everybody says I look like Craig Sheffer." And he was like, "Oh, well, he's here somewhere. I just saw," and I was like, "You're kidding me, I'd love to meet him." So a few minutes later, he comes walking up, Craig Sheffer, and the guy's like, "Yeah, there he is." You know, I'm like, "Here I am." and he's like, "Hey, I'm Craig Sheffer," and I'm like, "I'm Eddie McClintock." And he's like, "Wow," and I'm like, "I know, right?" And he's like, "You are incredibly handsome." I was like, "You're very handsome too." And I go, "But do you know who else is very handsome? David Boreanaz." And he goes, "I've heard that. I've heard that he's handsome." And I was like, yeah, well, it was nice to meet you. "Oh, great to meet you, blah, blah." And then a couple years later, or whenever it was, I go to do Bones. And the first day that I met David, he's a little taller than me. And so I'm standing there, I walked up next to him, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, and he looks over at me, and he's like, "Oh, hey." I'm like, "Hi," and he goes, "Oh my God." And I go, "Yep." And he goes, "Do you know who you look like?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "You look just like Craig Sheffer." It all came around. And then David was like, "You know, we should do a movie with Josh Brolin, because he looks like us too." It's like the chin and the, you know. But it was great. You know, David's cool. He's a Midwestern boy. He's from like Pittsburgh or I think Pittsburgh. Philly maybe? Philly.
He's a Flyers fan.
Philly. And you know, good dude. I've been very lucky in my career. I've had an opportunity to work with people who have been really great to me. I mean, especially on Warehouse 13. I was just telling someone the other day, I mean, it was just a parade of hugely talented actors who I've admired since I was a kid. You know, Kate, I mean, come on. My mom is a Starfleet captain. My ex-wife was, you know, 7 of 9, and I always thought she was like 11 of 9. Damn, girl, you're like. And then I got killed by Data. So it was the trifecta of sci-fi coolness. And then I've gotten to hang out with Shatner, and I mean, this has been a dream come true, this show. I get to come and hang out and talk to you guys. Okay, what is it?
This is good.
Hey man, what's your name? Cecil, nice to meet you.
I actually wanted to thank you for 2 things before I ask my question real quick. Your Twitter presence, first of all. It's really awesome when, you know, an actor that you really like and appreciate their work endeavors to try and interact with their fans on that, you know, more personal level, even though it is across, you know, the electronics. So thank you very much for that, because it's very nice. Also,
She's okay. We're a go.
But I wanted to thank you for your work on Warehouse, because I always felt like you were definitely the heart of the show. I know a lot of people think the same way, and I always tuned in to find out what Pete was going to do and how he was going to sort of bring everyone together and everything like that. So thank you very much. My 2 quick questions. One is there any chance your secret project is you're finally going to be Chief Brody?
Oh. That would mean that they'd have to remake Jaws, and I don't want to go near that end of the pool. You know, that's a little deep for me. Is there more?
One other question is, how fun was it to act like Joanne in that body swap episode?
Thank you, Cecil. Thank you for the good words, man. In regards to my Twitter account, when I first started doing Twitter, I had a lot of people going, hey, you're not supposed to talk to them. You know, you're supposed to make it, you're supposed to be separated. It's, they come to worship you. You don't, and I was like, what? I don't, oh, here he comes. I just never, I mean, trust me, I want to be an asshole, but it's been hard. I'm like, it's just easier to be nice. It's too hard to be, like when I'm going to play games with my friends, like, oh, yes, I'm up here and you're, and so Twitter is a great way to interact and I mean, look, I say some things that people don't always like, and luckily I have fans that are like, I didn't like that one. Instead of going, I'm not going to follow you anymore because you said something that offends me, and I'm not going to, you know, it's like, and I still have those. But you know, I try to stay away from politics. God, you know, I was just thinking the other day, I was going to send out a tweet. I yearn for the day, for the days when politics meant nothing to me. Like, I was like, what? Now I'm just like, I sit there and I'm watching the news and I'm just like, oh my God, you know, because I think that's what happens. You have a couple kids and then all of a sudden world events becomes so much, you just go, what am I leaving to my kids? What have we done? So yeah, I mean the Twitter is important. I think it's a great way to interact, and it's a great way. If any of you guys are on Twitter, I'm at Eddie McClintock. I'm pretty easy to find. But in regards to how was it playing Joanne? I was like, so wait a minute. I get to do all the things that I've been doing behind Joanne's back in front of her. He. So she was like, why are you bugging your eyes out like that? I'm like, you tell me. We've all wondered the same thing for the last 6 months. And then, you know, her impersonation. I was like, I'm a gorilla? She was like, pretty much. So it was all good. We had a blast. That was obviously one of my favorite episodes to do. You know, it was just Joanne and I. We really, truly are like brother and sister. I mean, the fact that we get together in the end, I know that there was a bone of contention for a lot of viewers, but I think we did it subtly enough and well enough that you just, at the end, you just kind of go, oh wow, the person that I love is standing right in front of me, and I never really thought of that because I was so busy protecting her all the time. So I mean, that didn't bother me, but you know, I mean, this will surprise you, but I am Pete, and Joanne is a lot like, she's like, I'm nothing like Micah. You are. You can untuck your shirt. And one day we were, it was one of the episodes where we traveled back in time. I think we used HG's time machine to travel back to the 50s. And we were in a convertible, like an old 50s convertible, and they were, hey, here he comes. And they were pulling us by a picture car, which is a truck that has cameras mounted on it so that they can shoot us driving. And we were just being pulled. It was a beautiful day, and I said to Joanne, I go, Joanne, do I drive you crazy? And she goes, sometimes I want to stab you in the eye with a pencil. But if you were any other way, this all just wouldn't be the same. And that was kind of our relationship. You know, I drove her nuts. Because I'm a morning person, man. Like, I don't have time to be all grumpy in the morning. You know, I don't drink coffee. But for some reason, like, so I come on the set, you know, it's 5 a.m. I'm like, hey guys, hey Joe, how are you? You know, she comes in like this and she's just like, get away! Once I know that she's annoyed, I'm like, huh? You're not touching you, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you. And so that was kind of our relationship. And interestingly, when I was going to get Warehouse 13, at the end of the process, it's called a test or a screen test. So you go, you show up to the test, and there's usually maybe 2 Pete's, well, 2 of whoever's being cast, whatever character, and maybe 2. So you're down to 2, basically. So I show up to do my test for Pete, and there are 6 Pete's and 6 Micahs. And I was just like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Because I had just had my second son. I had come off my run with Bones, and I was like, oh cool, you know, everything's moving, and then it just dried up, so I hadn't worked, and I was on shaky ground. That was my Kirk. Oh, it was on, shaky ground. I'm sure he'd love to see me do that. I did finally get to do a Kirk on Warehouse 13, across the universe, which was fun. So anyway, so I get to the test. There are 6 Micahs, 6 Pete's, and I'm like, oh my God. So we start mixing and matching. They're like, okay, this Pete's gonna go in with this Micah, this Pete's gonna go in. We start going into the room. Now when you go into the test, it is a room, you know, maybe from that pole to that pole, and these are all executives. Stone-faced executives that are like, dance, monkey boy, make me laugh, chim chim, you know, and sing for your soup, and it's the hardest thing about acting is the network test. So I go in, and we're mixing, matching. At lunchtime, they tell 3 Pete's and 3 Micahs that they can go home. Which, can you imagine? Bye. You can go now, thank you. But you're gonna call, right? Yeah. Yeah, we'll call. But am I done? Did I not do good? No, you did fine. Go. I mean, it's an act, you just, you know, and you stand there and you just feel so badly for actors. When I first started acting, I came from a wrestling background. I wrestled for 12 years. I wrestled in college. I played football my whole life. So I'd come into auditions and be like, you know, and the other guys would be like, what's wrong with you? You know, I didn't realize, you know, now after years and years, you walk into the rooms, you see the same guys that you've seen for the last 10 years, and you're just like, good luck. Because if you can get a job in this terrible, terrible business, you know, more power to you. And generally by this time, we're all friends anyhow. I mean, you know, you stick around long enough, you get to know each other. So anyway, they cut those people away. Now here we go, we're going through, we're still mixing and matching. I hadn't gotten paired up with Joanne at all. And I remember looking at her and like going, she's super hot, but she must not be very good. She's not paired up with me. So at one point, the door opens up and this guy who was in there came walking out, a Pete, and the director comes in the door and he's like, hey, Johnny. Johnny's like, yeah? He's like, come here, man. So the director puts his arm around Johnny and he takes him down the hall. And I'm standing there and I'm like, oh, okay, all right, you know what? I start taking off my tie and I go, you know what? That's it, man. That's it. I take my jacket off. I go, you know what? Let me tell you something. And I was saying this to the rest of the Pete's and the rest of the Micahs. I'm like, you know what? Let me tell you, I just had my second kid, okay? My second kid. And so I got 2 kids. They're just babies, 2 little babies. They're sitting at home, and they're like birds sitting in the nest, and they have their necks stretched really high. They're just they're waiting for me to fly in with the worm and regurgitate the worm. And guess what? I don't have a worm, okay? And Joanne is like, you know, sitting like Indian style, and she's like, dude, come here. To this day, hey Joe, what's going on? Hey dude. I don't even think she knows my name. It's Eddie. And she's like, yeah, dude, come here. So I go over. I'm like, what? And she's like, hey, it's all okay, man. I mean, it's not over yet. I'm like, well, you saw Johnny with the... And then the door opens up and casting director says, Miss Kelly, Eddie, you guys are next together. And she looked at me like... So we go in, and there's the scene from the pilot where we're protecting the president at the art museum and the Bloodstone. And there's a part where Micah calls Pete Showboat. And when we're in the test, Joanne actually called me a showbot. She said showbot instead of showboat. So there was like a second, and then I just like went, showbot, 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 and then I went, hee hee. And the executives were like, how did he get in here? What happened? What just happened? And Joanne's like, dude. She punches me in the arm, and I'm like, ow! And then I'm like, ha! We laughed, and we goofed around, and then we finished up, and we walked out, and Mark Stern, the head of the network, turned to everybody and goes, there's the show. That's the show. Those two, right there. And interestingly enough, I mean, what is an actor's greatest fear is to make a mistake in the test. And ironically, it's kind of what helped us get the job, because it was about Joanne Kelly and Eddie McClintock, and not necessarily about the characters. So it was kind of cool.
So Eddie, we are at time. It is 11:30 right now. So.
Have you ever seen that? I just showed my 9-year-old superstar. He was like, I love this, Dad. And then it came to the part where she was making out with the tree, and I was like, okay.
So I have a question for you.
Yes.
I really enjoy geeky t-shirts, but I don't have any Warehouse 13 t-shirts. Would you be able to help me?
Interestingly enough, I could.
Tell me more.
Well, here, let me tell you more about my fantastic t-shirts. Here's the deal. I was not impressed with the swag that Sci-Fi put out for the show. I was an art major in college. Thank you. And my wife was just like, well, let's do some, because she worked for a network, and I was like, let's do some t-shirts. So every year I've been designing these Warehouse 13 t-shirts. The 4th season I designed this one that had the football, but it's, I don't know if you guys know this, and I'm sure you do, but the football circled the globe. It circumnavigated the globe looking for pings, right? So I changed the season 4 t-shirt to the ping, so instead of a 4 here, it says ping, and it says Latimer on the back with a big 13. It's been a shirt that, we've sold, and people seem to love them, and I brought a bunch, so if you guys want to contribute to my indoor plumbing extravaganza, up 4,000. 4,000. If you really want to know how much, how about this? How about you come to the table and find out, dog? $30 for the shirt from small to XL, and then 2XLs, 35, 3XL, 40, 4XL, 45. So, I'm trying to bring my prices down, but, it's just literally, it's my wife and I, Lynn, we're making t-shirts, running them around, and I also, you can get them online too. So, you guys, thank you so much for having me. I adore you. I'll see you guys. Come by my table and say hey.
My favorite actor, Eddie McClintock.